Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we're still on 6.1, but we're looking at example 2 on page 3. Negative 3x plus 4y less than or equal to 10. So there's a couple ways you can approach this question. If you did it with intercepts, I'm going to do that in the last example, but if you did this with intercepts, you're going to get some fraction x and y intercepts. So I think the best way with this question would be to change it into y equals mx plus b form. Okay? So what we're going to do first is we're going to rearrange this formula, this equation, I should say, this inequality. See, I got to watch my terminology, right? That's something we're going to get used to. So I'm going to rearrange this inequality for y. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3x to both sides, right? So I'm going to add 3x to both sides. And remember, we can put that in the front of the 10, just to have it in that correct form. The negative 3x plus 3x is equal to 0. That's why we did that at that stage, right? Okay, and now we're going to divide by, sorry about the interruption there. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to divide each of the terms by 4. So we'll divide this by 4. And we'll divide the 3x by 4. And we'll divide the 10 by 4. And we're going to simplify. And when we simplify, we're left with. Now remember, this time the inequality didn't change. There was no need because there was no dividing or multiplying by a negative coefficient, right? The 4 was positive, the inequality stays the same. So we're left with y is equal to. Now there's no need to change the slope to a decimal. We prefer to have it as 3/4. And this one's okay to change to a decimal. That'll help you when you're plotting the y-intercept when you're graphing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do something a little different here. We're going to use the graphing technology. So for some of you, this is brand new. So I'm going to go through this slowly, just as another form of how to basically check your graph, right? And then we'll go to the Desmos program, desmos.com, and I'll graph that with you as if you were graphing it on paper by hand. Okay. So I'm going to open up the graphic technology. All right. This is what your graphic calculator looks like. Okay. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to reset the graphic calculator. I do this every time I pick the graphic calculator up. So in order to reset the graphic calculator, hit second function up here on the top left, second function, and then we hit the plus sign, which gives you mem. Second function is the top left hand above the button, so it goes to memory, and then you can go down to 7 with your arrow, or you can just hit the button 7 and hit enter, and it's reset. So if you just hit 7, it'll reset. 1, all the RAM. 2, reset, and it'll clear your screen. So everything is clear. Okay. So you just hit enter right down here in the bottom left-hand corner, and that'll bring you to the main screen. So now what we want to do is we want to turn the inequality function on our graphing technology. So there's a button here. It's in the fourth row, second column. It says apps, and then you're going to go down to number 7. It says inequalities. Right. So 1 down to number 7. You can hit 7 or enter, and press any key. I'll hit enter, and that turns the inequality up. So in order to get the inequality, right now it's blinking on the equal sign. We're going to change that. So we're going to hit the left cursor, and it'll be blinking over the whole thing. Then you're going to hit enter. Right down here, enter. Now you can change it to your favorite color. I'll leave it at blue, and press down, and that'll get you to the y, and here's where you can change the inequalities. So our inequality in this question was less than or equal to, so I leave it there. You press down, now you see that it's over the OK, and you just hit enter, and now the inequality is on. So now you're going to bring it back till I hit the left cursor twice, and now you can enter your inequality. Okay? So the inequality was 3/4 x. So a little trick here to show you to get the numerator and denominator for the slope. You can hit alpha, y equals. And this just automatically gives you the numerator and denominator. So just hit 1, gives you numerator and denominator. I'm going to put 3 in, and then I press down for 4, and then I go right to get me back off there. So I my variable is over here. It's in the second column, third row, It's xt theta n. That'll be my variable x. And then I'm going to plus 2 decimal 5. And then I'm going to hit graph. Graph up in the top right hand corner, and it graphs the inequality for you. Isn't that beautiful? Okay? So all your solutions are in here. All right? So we'll do that now on Desmos program. So remember, DESMOS.com. So our first coordinate we're going to graph, when we graph this on our graph paper, is 0 and 2 decimal 5, and we label it. That is our y-intercept. Remember, our slope was up 3, so that'll get us up to 5 decimal 5, and then right 4. So our point is going to be 4 and 5 decimal 5. And there it is. And I'll make it the same color red, and I'll label it. And then we're going to draw our line through, right? So we get our ruler, and we draw our line through the points. Okay, so we get our ruler, and 2 decimal 5. So we have a ruler, and we draw our line through here. I'll make that a different color, make it black. Remember, this is going to be a solid line, and the reason this line is solid is because we have an equal sign in our inequality. It was greater than, it was less than or equal to. So now we shade in the correct region, and when we shade in the correct region, there we go. So the exact same as our graph that we graphed earlier. Okay? So I'm going to take a picture of that and put it in our notes. There's our graph. Just a little bit big, but I can just make it a little smaller there. Oh. Way up here. And you guys rid of that. And there we are. Okay, there's our graph. Remember, solid line, because the inequality had this symbol there. It was less than or equal to, so we graph underneath, right? Now remember, taught you a little trick before. Remember test point? We can do a test point. Just a little trick. Okay? And we always pick 0, 0 if it's available. 99% of the time it is available. The only time it wouldn't be available is if your x and y intercept is the same going through the origin at 0, 0. But this is an excellent point to pick for our test point. All right. So we take the original inequality. Okay. The original inequality. And we substitute in the point 0, 0. 0 in for x, and 0. The original inequality, and that's going to be 0 plus 0. Right? And this is true, so we can write there. Steal that. Say, since this is true, we shade the point with the test point 0, 0. Okay? Now remember, if this was false, we would have shaded above, right? Okay? So without the test point. But since it's true, 0 is indeed, right? So this is true. We shade the point with test point 0, 0. Okay? So that's how to do it on the graphing technology. All right? Just another method. And Desmos, I graph. But you will graph that by hand. It's very simple. It's what you did last year when you were graphing your points. Okay? Graphing a linear line. And equality is the same way. Now we just shade. All right? When we look at example 3, It looks complicated. This is just called set notation. But what we're worried about is this part here. The x minus 2 greater than 0. That's what we're concerned about here. Okay? This just means that it's a point x and y such that x minus 2 is greater than 0, x is an element of reals, and y is an element of reals. So that means any of the solutions. You have decimals, fractions, right? Rational, irrational, like there's a lot of different choices here. Okay? So this one here is quite easy. We're going to rearrange this formula. Or sorry, I say it again, it's inequality. I'll say that sometimes by mistake. I think you understand what I mean, and I do apologize for using that. So we're going to add 2 to both sides, right? So we're going to add 2 to both sides. Okay. Minus 2 plus 2 is eliminating. Again, you don't have to show that step if you don't want to. That's fine. It depends how comfortable you are. And we're left with x greater than or equal to 2. Now this is a little different. You can't use the graphing technology because this isn't a function. As you're aware, this is a vertical line. All right? So when we graph a vertical line, the slope is undefined, right? Because your rise is up or down, but there's no run, right? So since x is greater than 2, you shade, and again, I don't think we need a test point. You can use one if you want. We shade the region or the area, whatever you want to call it, the region to the right of the inequality. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that in a minute. Okay? So I'm going to use my Desmos program for me to graph. It's a great program online. It's desmos.com. All right, so I'll take some of the old stuff I have there. So this is going to go at the point 2 and 0, right? Label that. So there's the point. It's going to be a vertical line through the point 2 and 0, right? Because x is always 2. So it's going to be y greater than or equal to 2. You'll notice that it's a dotted line this time. I mentioned that earlier. That's because there's no equal sign in the inequality. Okay? So there's your line through. All right? And obviously we shade to the right of the inequality because it's all the x values greater than 2. So 3, 4, 5, and so on. Or 3.5, whatever the case may be. So I'll take a picture of that graph. Put it in our notes. And there it is. Okay? I don't think you need a test point there. You can use one if you want, but it's quite obvious that since x is greater than 2, you're going to shade to the region of the right, or the plane, the half plane. And again, I know it's not cut in half, but remember, this is just a portion of the graph. It's infinite, right? X goes on forever up and to the right, negative 10 goes down forever down and to the left, right? Okay? There's graph. All right? And again, this cannot be done with the graphing technology. And the reason it can't be done with the graphing technology is because you have to have a function in your graphing calculator. Okay? Where this is not a function because for every value of x, there's more than one value for y. Right? X is always equal to 2, and y is an infinite number. So that's it for this video. In the last video, we'll finish up the, we're going to finish up the 4 examples in the next video. So I hope this is helping, and we'll talk again soon.